For more, let's bring in Dan Kelly, president of the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. Dan, thanks so much for joining us on this last day before the trade deadline set to kick in at midnight tonight. How hopeful are you that a deal could be reached in these final hours?
Well, not super hopeful. Look, there have been a number of trade deals announced over the last few days between the U.S. and several other countries. But I worry that we're more likely to go down the road of Mexico, where it's a delay in negotiations as opposed to a deal. And while I agree with the Prime Minister that no deal is better than a bad deal, it's also pretty bad to have no deal at all right now because the uncertainty will continue, which has been choking the business community across Canada.
Uncertainty never good for business, but also with the potential for a 35% tariff on non-CUSMA compliant imports. What impact could that mean for small business owners?
Look, it's significant any way you slice this. But the good news is that if there is no deal, it seems that the U.S. has signaled that the CUSMA exemption will remain in place. And that means that about 2/3 to 3/4 of our trade will continue to go across the border duty and tariff free. That is the good news if what we believe comes to be. But there are all the sectoral tariffs that are in place and the 35% on the balance of trade that isn't CUSMA compliant. And that includes a number of small businesses that haven't got all the paperwork in place to be able to prove their CUSMA exemption. So that's still a pretty big implication for the business community across Canada and small businesses more specifically.
Dan Kelly is the president of the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, watching this trade deal deadline very closely. Dan, thanks so much for your time today. Appreciate it.
Anytime.